of the option. The short is the underwriter, which is usually a financial institution. We can recall that for a put, not a put, but for the long, the value at the expiration is given by CT, which is the value of the call at time T. We said it's the maximum of either 0 or ST, which is the underlying price at the time of expiration, minus the exercise. That we know. And that profit on this call is the value at expiration, which is CT or payoff, minus the value at the onset. This is actually the premium you pay for you to obtain the right. So you pay premium, which is actually the value of the call at time 0 or at the onset. That we did. You can also recall that maximum profit on the call is actually infinity, because profit is maximized when the underlying price tends to infinity, so that whatever you do with infinity, you still remain with infinity. So maximum profit is theoretically infinite, because the price, we don't know it will go up to when. So we roughly say it is infinity. Then the maximum loss. Maximum loss is actually the premium, is the premium you pay. Just like insurance, the worst you can lose when you have a car is the premium that you pay. Just like that, we also consider the premium paid as the maximum you can lose. You can also recall break-even price for the long, which of course shall be the same for the short, because for break-even to be arrived at, it means both the long and the short get 0 profit. So this is actually X plus the premium, because at this price, profit is 0. I believe that these are things we did. Maybe we can illustrate for illustration purpose. I could say that you consider a call option going for say two shillings or $2, whatever. Then current price is say 72, and the exercise or strike price, exercise price is say 74. Let us say we have a call with these characteristics. Then you can be asked to compute the value on expiration and profit under the following outcomes. The following outcomes. A, market price is $78. B, market price is 72. Then see, you are also told to compute maximum profit and maximum loss. We will also compute the break-even price, just for illustration purpose. So I don't know whether you have captured the question. It is so simple. Maybe you can capture it. If you have captured, I close this slide so that I open another one. Capture it quickly. I hope it is clear. So can I close it? So I can, I think I've captured everything. Current price is 72. Exercise is 74. CO is 2. Then we want to look at what is the value at expiration. The market price is 78. What's the value at expiration and the profit when the value market value is 78 and it's 72. Then compute loss, maximum loss. So I can now, so solution, we have spot price, which is 72, exercise, which is 74, then CO, CO, which is 2. What else do we know? I think this is what we know at the onset. This is the data we have. Then A, you are asked to compute value at expiration, which is CT, is the maximum of either 0 or ST. ST is 78. 78 minus X, which is 74. So you take either 0, whichever is greater. So in this case, 78 minus 74 is greater than 0. So we say 4. So CT is 4. Let me write it clearly. So CT is 4. Yeah. So that is the value at expiration, which is 4. Profit at this point is CT minus CO, which is 4 minus 2. So profit here is 2. Then we also look at yeah, that is it. Maximum profit. Maximum profit is actually infinity. We say it so. And the maximum loss is actually the premium you pay, which is 2. That's the maximum loss you are likely to suffer. And that is how simple these things can be. We are just on payoff analysis for options. Then part B, when the market price is 72. So here it is going to be maximum of 0 or 72 minus 74. 72 minus 74 is negative. So 0 is better, we take 0. So profit is CT minus CO, which is 0 minus 2, which is minus 2. So profit is minus 2. Maximum profit, of course, remains infinity. Maximum profit is infinity. And maximum loss remains 2. Yeah, it's the premium. Of course, maximum profit or loss is not dependent on market price. That's why it ought to have been an independent question. Remember, what we are computing is from the point of view of the long. Maybe it's good to indicate that our computation, which is the default position, until specified otherwise, the default position is always the long. So we can go to another slide. Which is break-even. Break-even price. Break-even price is exercise plus CO, which is 74 plus 2. So to break even, the market price has to go to 76. When the market price is 76, both the long and the short will make 0 profit. I hope it is clear. In fact, I can also extend this to look at the short. Part A, in analyzing the short, for part A, we know that the short, the value at expiration is negative CT, and we calculated and found it was 2. No, it was 4. So here it is negative 4. So profit to the short is CT plus CO, which is negative 4 plus 2. So profit for this guy is negative 2, or he loses 2. And needless to say, we said that the maximum loss for the long is maximum profit for the short, and maximum profit for the long is maximum loss for the short. So you reverse. or you invert. You invert. So B is what? The C2 negative C2 was 0. So profit for this guy will be 2, which is 0 plus 2, which is 2. Yeah, I think that one is clear. So the guy makes 2. What else? I think those are break even will still remain this one. Break even will remain 76. This is both the long and the short, because in both in this circumstance, both of them make 0 profit. So I think that simple example tries to demystify this concept of payoff or value at expiration, the issue of profit, and the issue of break-even. Any question? So you will look at these things. Yeah, try to peruse the notes for details. I hope the notes are clear. They are actually presentations. Any question? Any question?
It's clear for me, Mwalimu.
Okay. So I would like to move to another concept still around the analysis of options. I would like us to look at a related concept before we go to put call parity. We can look at a concept called moneyness. Moneyness. So moneyness regarding options, we have 3 circumstances that describe the position of a market participant in the options market. We have one called in the money. In the money. So this is one condition that a participant can be in. In the money, this thing is telling us 10 minutes. So, so what do we do? The license expired, it's not yet renewed. So we are operating on 10 minutes. when this one goes off, is it possible to restart? Those who have experience with the 40 minutes, can we restart the same meeting? Okay, so when in case we are locked out, we log in afresh. I will restart. So moneyness in the money is when for a call in the money, from the ordinary meaning of in the money, it means you have made money. Then it means for a call, ST is greater than X. And for a put, it means that ST is less than X, because you exercise a call when ST is greater. And for a put, you exercise the put when ST is less than X, because it's X minus ST. And for a call, it is ST minus X. So if this happens, then you are in the money. Then 2, at the money, if this happens, when the underlying price is equal to X, which means payoff is 0. Payoff will be 0 for both the put and the call. It's going to be 0. So in this case, of course, for call and put, yeah, then you are at the money, which means you don't lose money, you don't make money. Then I'm not talking of profit, but payoff. Then the third one is out of the money. Out of the money condition. Of course, it's when the situation is the reverse. When ST for the call is less than X, and for the put, when ST is greater than X. In this case, the payoff is not greater than 0. So this one is a condition we call out of the money. So it means that you can compare this with 2, where at the money you make 0 payoff, both the call and the put. Out of the money, in both cases, it's negative payoff. So the market price is what makes it out of the money. I think that is clear, the concept of the moneyness. So let's break a bit. When we resume, we log in again. I think it's going to throw us out. When we log in again, I'm going to start put call parity. It had given us 10 minutes. So I think so the license, when it throws you out, when you log in again. Yeah, I think it's in the next 4 minutes.
All right, that's okay.
Yeah. So we can look at put call parity. In the notes, you will read factors that determine the value of a European option. You look at those factors that are there.
Could you repeat that again, Mwalimu? Factors that?
Factors that determine the value of a European option.
All right, got it.
Yeah, they are in the notes right there. So I would like us now to consider put call parity. Put call parity is a level you reach when you create two portfolios. There are two portfolios. You create two portfolios, one that has a put, then another has a call, such that the value of the two portfolios for the observed time horizon will be at par. At par means equal. That's where the word parity, that's where the word parity is coming from. It means that you have two portfolios such that regardless of the market outcomes, the two portfolios will yield the same value at the end of the observation period. This is a very simple, or the very basic approach to doing what we call portfolio immunization. So it's an approach we can adopt to create portfolio immunization, in which the portfolio value is fortified within certain beacons. So that is very, very critical, especially those people who are in asset management. They have to learn something that we call portfolio immunization, in which you can create a portfolio, a dummy portfolio, to mimic the actual portfolio, so that you use the dummy to manipulate the value of the actual portfolio, such that the actual will be a reflection of the dummy. And the good thing with the dummy is that if a mistake is committed, then nobody loses. So you first set the dummy, then you start now mimicking that dummy using the real data that you have in the market. So we can begin by saying that for a put, we will call this one a protective put. Reason why we call it protective put. This put is protective from the sense that you have the asset, you long the asset, you long the underlying asset, so you long the asset, And remember, a put is a right to sell. You see, you have the right to sell. So you long the asset, which means you own the asset. Then you also long put. You long the asset, then you long put. The reason we call it protective put, it means whereas you have the right to sell, you also own the asset that you will sell. So the default risk is eliminated because the put is now protected by the asset. So the default risk is eliminated. You have the right to sell, then you also own the thing. You have the right to sell. That's why we call this one a protective put, because the put is actually protected against default. You know, you can have the right to sell, but when the contract matures, whereas you have the right to sell, you don't have the underlying asset to sell. You fail to deliver. You say you have a right to sell 1 million bags of maize. Now, when that right expires, will you have 1 million bags of maize? So to make sure that the put is protected, then you must also own 1 million bags of maize, so that when it expires, you can now deliver the contract. So the other thing I have mentioned here is that, of course, this is a very basic way of looking at creating that portfolio. You have a portfolio that has specific units of the underlying asset and therefore a specific number of rights equal to the number of assets. I hope it is clear the meaning. You can easily now explain to a layman when you come across a question, what is protective put? Then we have the call. The call, this portfolio that contains the call, we call it the fiduciary. Fiduciary call. Fiduciary call. Fiduciary because you will hold some money. You will invest money on a fiduciary basis. So you don't want to keep the money, so you invest. So it's a portfolio in which you long the call, which means you have the right to buy the underlying. Then you also put money in risk-free bond. Yeah. So you put money in a risk-free bond such that on maturity of the risk-free bond, the value will be equal to the exercise price of the call. Which means, whereas you have the right to buy, you are also having an assurance of having the money that is equal to the exercise price. Exercise price for a call is the highest price you can pay. So if you have money equal to the highest price you can pay, then you are sorted. So the money meant to purchase the underlying is held in a trust in the free bond, a risk-free bond. So when it matures, money is released to exercise your right to buy. So that is the brief concept behind the protective put and fiduciary call. So to demystify this thing further, we can show in a diagram the market outcomes. So we can have market outcomes at time t. So for the put, and for the call, no, let me, instead of talking of the call of the put, the market outcome can only be a situation where ST is less than X, another situation ST is greater than equal to X. Yeah. Then we have the portfolios here, one containing the protective put, Maybe I did not write properly. I can write smaller things. So ST is less than X, then ST is greater than equal to X. So we have the asset here. So under protective put, you have the asset, you long the asset, you also long the put. So when you own the asset price will be the market price here. The asset value will be the market price here. Yeah. The long put, ST, when ST is less than X, then the put will be X. No, will be X minus, it will be X minus ST. And here it will be 0. So total here, ST plus X minus ST, you get here X, you get here ST plus 0 is ST. So that's the total value of the portfolio that has got a protective put. Then fiduciary, under fiduciary call, under fiduciary call, you will long the call. You long the call. Then you also put money in risk-free bond, of course, to ensure that the money will be there when it matures. So when ST is less than X, the call will be valued as 0. When it is greater, the call will be ST minus X. The value of the bond here will be X, so that when it matures, its value is X, and here it is also X. So we can get the summation of the value. 0 plus X is X. Then X minus ST minus X plus X is ST. So with this simple illustration, you can still see that when the value here is X, here it is also X. When the value here is ST, the value here is also ST, but different portfolios. And that is a very basic way of attaining put call parity. Any question? A very basic way of attaining put call parity. Yeah, so that is it. So let's go to the put call parity equation. Put call parity equation. Put call parity equation. Of course, the default option that we argue about is usually European option. From the onset, if you have read the initial handout, you needed to have known the distinction between American and European options. Yeah, so the default option is always European that has a fixed exercise time. American, you can exercise anytime before maturity, which is now making it difficult to do valuation. So for European options on the same underlying asset with the same strike price at expiration. So if you have a call and a put, the condition that we must have in mind is that same exercise, same time of maturity, then the same asset. Then asset is the same underlying with the same X and T. So if that is true, then the put call parity equation says SO, which is the underlying price, spot price, is equal to the value of the put, no, plus is equal to CO plus X over 1 plus RT, which is the present value of the exercise price. I hope you can crack this equation. Of course, PO is the put price, then CO is the call price, then SO is the spot price of the underlying spot price, spot asset price. Then X remains the exercise or strike. So in the American style, it is strike price. Then T is time to expiration. Time to expiration. I see. So that is the put call parity equation, which says the way it is started here, that the spot price of the underlying plus the value of the put. I think the put is the right to sell. So that right, the value of that right to sell plus the price of the asset that you have the right to sell should be equal to the right to buy, the right to buy the asset, which is CO, plus the value of the right to, the price of the right to buy, plus the present value of the underlying price. Underlying price is the exercise price of the underlying asset is, of course, the maximum price that you can pay if you have the right to buy. So the two should be the same. It should actually be the same. So there is an example which if you had access, and I'm double sure that you are looking at it now, you could have referred to this example. We have an example here, which says consider an dividend paying stock. An dividend paying stock with a current price of 25. So we have a current price of 25. We have a stock whose current price is 25. Then you are told a 3-month European call with a strike of 24 is selling for 3. So in this case, hey, this thing is already saying 10 minutes. In this case, let me rush and finish so that it can terminate. We lock in the last time. In this case, T is 3 months is a quarter of a year, isn't it? So it is 0.25. Then European call. So CO is 3. CO is 3. Exercise is 24. Risk-free rate R is 0.02, which is 2%. What is the price of PO? What is the price of the European put? Yeah, so you can be given the data, so you look for the unknown. So solution, we know that SO plus PO is equal to CO plus the present value of this thing, which is 1 plus R raised to T. So 25 plus PO, which we don't know, should be equal to 3 plus present value of 24. So 24 divided by 1 plus 0.02 raised to 0.5. So which is 3 plus the present value of that. Let me write it properly. Divided by 1 plus 0.02 raised to 0.25, a quarter. So if you work out with your calculator, you will have 25 plus PO is equal to 3 plus 23.88. So PO is actually 1.88 because it's this minus 25. You get 1.88. So what we are demonstrating here is that if you are given the call price and other data, you can find data for the unknown. The unknown. In this case is the put, which is unknown. Yeah, so that is it. Any question? I hope you are getting these concepts. So far, we are done with the put call parity for the European call option. Maybe it's time to introduce put call parity, forward parity, or just put call forward parity before we are locked off. If we are locked off, we shall sign in the last time. So these things, let me save them. So we can then get introduced to put, call, forward, parity. So another parity condition, which we are saying, put, call, forward, parity. Okay, the same analysis. Except that we are going to introduce a forward contract in the put portfolio. So we are going to have an additional financial instrument in the basket, which we are calling protective put portfolio. So in this basket, we are going to have a risk-free bond with a forward value, of course, when it expires, a forward contract, then a long put. So in put call forward parity, the protective put will not have an asset in it. The underlying asset is set aside. Instead, since you have the right to sell, you get into a forward contract. You get into a forward contract whose maturity is the same as maturity for the put and also maturity for the bond. So you will have cash being set free when the bond matures. You will have the money, therefore, to buy the asset forward, and then you will have the you will have cash when the bond matures. That cash can be used to buy the asset that you have a forward contract on, and then you also have the right to sell, which means at the end of the day, you are a buyer and a seller at the same time. You are a buyer and you are a seller at the same time, and you have the asset because you have a forward contract to buy, and you have cash which is put in the risk-free bond to buy, and then you also have the right to sell the same asset. So we want to see the chaos that you create by putting yourself in that mix. So I hope it will not just disappear, but you will have, again, market outcome of X less than X, then ST greater or equal to X. So you will have your protective.
Excuse me, sir, this one is shutting down in a minute.
Oh, it has it like that?
Yes.
So let me save and wait for us to be kicked out. So when we are kicked out, you log in the last time. So you have the forward contract. Risk-free bond is supposed to give you cash which is equivalent to the forward contract price. So this bond will give you the value of the forward contract bond, which is FO expiring at T. The forward contract, the value of the forward contract will be the ST minus the forward price, which is like that. From what we did, of course, we are looking at the point of view of the long. So the long with the guy who is having the right to buy will be happy if the market price is higher than the forward contract. That's why we are saying ST minus the forward price. Then the put is going to be X minus ST. So total value of this thing, if you add this and this cancel, ST and ST cancel, so the value remains X here. And here, the value of the forward contract is like that. Then it remains ST minus the value of the forward, the price of the forward. Okay, the forward price, it doesn't change. Then here, the value of this thing will be 0. So FOT and FOT cancel, so the price here is ST. So total value, you can see it has not changed, even with a protective, with a forward contract in it. Then fiduciary call, with, of course, forward contract. No, fiduciary call has no forward contract. So it remains. So you long the call and then the bond, the same way we had. Here it will be 0, here it will be ST minus X. And here it will be X, here it will be X. So total value here is X, total value here, X and X cancel. The total value there is ST. Yeah. If you compare with the other put call parity condition without forward contract, the values are the same. The justification for putting forward contract in the put portfolio is that this contract, the put is when you have the right to sell. So you are in a contract, a forward contract to sell, to actually buy, not to sell, to buy, because already the call is the right to buy. So for you to have the element of buying for the put, because of the bond, you introduce forward contract to buy. Then you have the cash from the bond to buy. Then you also own the asset. So the seller is also the buyer. That is the justification. So that the modified equation, which we can call now the modified equation, we now have put, call, forward, parity. Put, call, forward, parity. So it's going to be the forward price executable at time t, its present value, which is 1 over that over 1 raised to t, plus the value of the put should be equal to the call plus the present value of the exercise price of this call. Of course, we divide with that to get the present value. So you can see that the proxy for the exercise price in the put, we have the forward contract price. In both sides, of course, you are buying. So I think we can end there. That is it. You need now to go to the slide and read more and look at additional examples. The cards will become active from next week. So I think unless you have a question, we can end there so that next week we will begin with evaluation. Evaluation models, option evaluation models, in which we look at binomial. Then we have black model, and of course, geometric, Brownian motion, GPM. Yeah, we look at those three. So let's get started next week, especially with the binomial. If you have any sources to read, you can read binomial in advance, so that when we begin drawing those trees, you are not completely lost. Any question? I wish to end there. I hope by next week the license will have been renewed. Thank you.